Rev up your engine! Before I started my YouTube channel 11 years ago, I used to do a TV gig. I did that on CBS TV for a couple of decades, and people are always saying, Scotty, whatever happened to those old videos you did? Well, I dug around in my messy garage and found a bunch of these old videos. So here's some old school Scotty.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Rev up your engine. Time for ScottyKilmer.com. You don't need to be superhuman to save money buying a used car. You just need to know how to use your head. The first thing you want to discover when you're buying a used car is if it's been in a wreck. So here's a tip. Here's a simple test that you can do to find if the car's been in a wreck, and you only need to use your hand. Go to the left front tire and put your hand between the tire and the body of the car. In this case, it's a little bit more than 4 fingers. Then you walk to the other side of the car and do the same thing. And as you can see, it's the same, a little over 4 fingers, so it's not bent. If you would have had 2 fingers on one side and 4 fingers on the other side, then the frame or the front end would be bent. Don't buy the vehicle. And of course, do the same thing with the back tires. Now, if you're looking to buy a used vehicle that's less than 15 years old, the best way to check out an engine isn't to look under the hood. You want to look at this. It's a scan tool that analyzes your computer in the car and gives you all kinds of information if there's something wrong. A mechanic can use it and analyze all kinds of stuff. But if you don't want to go to a mechanic, there's another option. There's companies like AutoZone that will scan your computer free and give you any trouble codes if they exist. And if they do have trouble codes, look for another vehicle. Now, with all the flooding we've been having lately, you might be worried about buying a flooded car. So all you need is a flashlight and your nose. Look up under the dash. If you see lots of shiny metal, that's good. If the metal's rusty, that's bad. The car's been flooded, and don't buy it. Then you can look around, pick up the rugs a little and smell. If it smells all moldy and you see rust, might have been a flood car, don't buy it. And be real leery about a car that's heavily perfumed. People will often spray the perfume to hide the mold smell. Now, some older cars will have fluid leaks, but that's easy to check. Just make sure the area where the car's parked doesn't have any oil in it. Then take your car for a 10 or 15 minute road test to see how it runs and bring it back to the same spot. Then check for drips. If there's no drips, then nothing's leaking and it's okay. Is your vehicle turning into a gas-devouring monster? As vehicles age, a lot of times carbon builds up in both the engine and the fuel injectors and make you burn a lot more gas and get worse gas mileage. The fuel injectors can get clogged up and you end up using more gas than you need to. But I found a new product that cleans the fuel injectors right on the vehicle and you don't have to take anything apart. It's called Run Right, and here's how it works. And here's how easy it is to use. The top of the tool just unscrews and you pour the cleaner inside. It's a cleaner that this company makes that's called Sledgehammer. Then the cleaner just pours right into it until it's full. It kind of looks like orange Fanta, but it doesn't smell like orange Fanta. Then the tool just hangs up on the hood. Then the other end screws onto the fuel rail of the vehicle. It just screws right onto the fuel injection rail at the test port. Then you go to the fuse box and take out the fuel pump relay to turn the fuel pump off, so this can now supply the fuel to the engine. Then you hook the air supply up that powers the tool. Then you turn the pressure gauge to make the pressure in the system be about 5 pounds less than normal operating pressure. In this case, that's about 50 pounds. Then you start the vehicle. Then the vehicle is run until it stops running. That means the cleaner's all run through and it's done its job. You can see the orange cleaner going right into the fuel injection system. Well, you can see it's almost done now because the cleaner's going out and the air is coming in place. Well, it's dead. Now we know the cleaner's done its job. So if your vehicle's turning into a gas-guzzling monster that's eating you alive... Wait! Do something about it before it's too late. Have the carbon cleaned out of your engine every 30,000 miles or so. This is Scotty Kilmer helping you crank it up. Is your car riding like a bomb? Just waiting to go off? If your car's riding rough, you could have a suspension problem. So today I'm going to show you how to check out suspension systems. Once your front wheel's jacked off the ground, you want to see if there's any play. Put your right hand at the 3 o'clock position and your left hand at the 9 o'clock position. Then pull back and forth to see if it clunks. If it goes clunk-a-clunk, there's a problem. In this case, it doesn't wobble back and forth, so there's nothing wrong in the joints. Then you check at 12 o'clock and 6 o'clock and do the same thing. If it wobbled this way, you'd have a bad ball joint that needs replacing. Now, if your vehicle is really bouncing around a lot when you hit bumps, your shock absorbing system might be wearing out. But some are very expensive to fix today, so you want to check them first. Most cars today have what are called McPherson struts. The shock absorber is called a strut, and it has a built-in spring. They're very expensive, so you don't want to change it unless they're actually worn out. Here's a pair of McPherson struts with the springs removed, and I'll show you how you can tell if they're bad. When you push down on them, they should have a lot of resistance, and they should come back up. As you notice, this one is coming back up, but this one's shot. Now, in the olden days, 2 or 3 decades ago, people would just push up and down on a fender to see if the car bounced too much. They worked okay with shocks, but the struts are much more complex. You need to check them more in depth than that. So if you feel that your car is driving like a bomb, make sure you check the suspension system of your car before it goes off. The road, that is. This is Scotty Kilmer helping you crank it up. Woo! Woo! Are you having a hard time getting the wiring system in your car fixed? Well, today's your lucky day, because I'm going to show you how to find wiring shorts in your car. All you really need is a little $8 test light. And I'm so cheap, when mine broke, I spliced the wire back together. If you think you've got a short in your car's electrical system, first make sure the headlights are turned off and no electrical accessories are turned on. Then go to your battery, loosen the negative terminal, and take it off. Then get the test light and take the alligator clip and put it on the negative terminal of the battery. Then take the pick end and shove it into the negative terminal of the battery, and if you noticed, the light is now on. Since the light came on, that means electricity is flowing and there's a short somewhere in the system. But we don't want to end up like Curly wondering where it is. So under the hood we go to the fuse box and take the cover off. Then pull the fuses out one at a time. With the fuse pulled out, see if the light has gone out. It hasn't, so we got to pull another fuse. Keep pulling out fuses until the light goes out. Now the light's gone out, so that's the circuit that has the short in it. Then you look on the top of the fuse box. It's for the cigarette lighter. So let's go inside the car. If you use your cigarette lighter all the time to recharge your cell phone, that can lead to problems in your cigarette lighter where you plug it in. These outlets weren't made to be plugged in and out thousands of times, and eventually they break, which is what's happened here. Okay, so it's called a power outlet today, but it's the same thing as a cigarette lighter. It just unscrews and you can buy a new base for it. So if you're having a hard time finding electrical shorts in your car, now you know how to find them. This is Scotty Kilmer, helping you crank it up. I found a problem with cars that make stooges of even good mechanics. And here's what it is. Now, cars are just like people. They have to breathe in, so make sure the filters are clean, but they also have to breathe out. Your car breathes out through the tailpipe. If the exhaust system is clogged up, it won't run right. And in modern day cars, it's usually the catalytic converter that clogs up. So I'm going to show you how to check them. Since the catalytic converter is on the bottom of the car, we're jacking it up so we can see it better. Well, here's the catalytic converter, but it's a sealed unit, so how do you check it? Well, I'm going to drill a hole and measure the exhaust pressure with this little gauge, and it'll tell us if it's clogged up. First, you drill a little 1/4-inch hole in the pipe.
Hey, Scotty, what are you doing to my car?
No, I've got these little metal plugs to fill the holes up when I'm done. Then you stick the gauge in the hole to measure the pressure behind the catalytic converter. We'll start the engine and see what the pressure is. Well, the pressure behind it is less than 1 pound. It's in the green, so it's fine behind. Now I'm going to drill a hole in front of the cat and measure the pressure there. Now when I hook the hose up in front of the catalytic converter, it has almost 15 pounds pressure. That means that the pressure is building up in front of the catalytic converter because it's clogged up. It needs a new catalytic converter. And here's a couple mechanics tips. If your car has less than 70,000 miles on it, or is less than 7 years old, there's a federal warranty covering the catalytic converters. You get one for free. If it's older than that, or you have more mileage, go to a discount muffler store and they can weld a universal cat on and save you a whole bunch of money. So don't let your mechanic make a simple job complicated. If you want the right stuff to fix your car, why not try the right stuff? It's Gasket Sealer in a can, and here's how easy it is to use. Let's say you've got an old car like mine. Hey, it's not easy to get parts for a 24-year-old car. Maybe your thermostat gasket's leaking. Well, here's how you can replace it. First, get a wrench and take the bolts off your thermostat gasket. When you get the second bolt off, just pull the thermostat housing off. Be sure you put a drain pan to collect the antifreeze so animals don't drink it. Then get an old turkey baster and suck out the coolant until the level is below the housing so the sealant won't have any on it. Then get an old putty knife and scrape the residual gaskets off. You have to make sure that the surface is clean so the sealant will make a good seal and not leak. Then get a paper towel and wipe it all off so it's completely dry. Then get your can of the right stuff. And if you notice, there's a little loop on here. That's because I've used it before. You leave a little loop out so you can pull it out and then use it over. Then the only thing you want to seal is the inside, so turn it on and make a little circle around the whole gasket. There it is. And remember, squeeze it a little so you have a little piece sticking out so you can pull it out and use it over. This stuff dries really quickly and you don't have to wait. With many of the other sealers on the market, you might have to wait 5 or 10 minutes. You can immediately put it in and fill it up with coolant and it won't leak. Now you can use this right stuff for all kinds of sealants. You can use it for your valve cover gaskets, you can use it for water pump gaskets, timing cover gaskets, engine oil pan gaskets, transmission gaskets, and rear end gaskets. The only thing you can't use it for are extremely hot areas like exhaust gaskets and head gaskets. So now you know, as my wife has always told me, good things can come in small packages.
Say hello to my little friend.
Just shoot your leaks away with a little can of the right stuff. This is Scotty Kilmer helping you crank it up. When you're being a road warrior on the highway, are you worried that your brakes are going to fail you in a pinch? Well, before you get stuck in a mess, I'm going to show you how to properly bleed your brakes this morning. If your brakes are getting mushy, you might have air in your brake lines and you need to bleed the air out. The bleeder screws are at the wheels, so you take off a wheel to access the bleeder screw. The bleeder screws have little rubber caps which you pull off. Now here's where the problem lies. The bleeder screw is down here at the bottom, but the air wants to go up and stay up. It doesn't want to come down here. It's simple physics. When air is introduced to a system, it wants to rise, not fall. But I found a tool called the Phoenix injector that works with the air instead of against it. It pushes it up so it naturally flows out. You just put the magnet on the wheel so the canister hangs free and doesn't spill. Then you go to the bleeder valve with a wrench and turn it about 1/4 of a turn to open it and put the end of the tool on it. Then you just pump the handle and it pumps fluid into the system. The fluid is pumped in the system and the air gets pumped upwards where it normally wants to go. Then the air just gets pumped through all the lines and comes out the top of the brake master cylinder. So the air is with all the other air, where it belongs. And what I like best about this injector is it makes brake bleeding a one-man job, and I hate working with other people. Now, you can be a real road warrior, knowing your brakes won't fail you on the road. This is Scotty Kilmer helping you crank it up. There's one thing you should always remember when you get in your car, and that's to always buckle your seatbelt in before you start the car so you don't forget. Now, a lot of people think, hey, I've got airbags. Why should I buckle up my seatbelts? Well, here's why. Now, this airbag is only going to fire once in the first collision. If you get hit again, you might get knocked out of the car. And besides, do you really trust that this thing is going to work? And besides, it's the law that you have to wear seatbelts. Do you want these guys coming after you? Well, actually, you might want these guys to come over. They've got a machine that'll convince you to wear your seatbelts. And this machine is so serious, you have to sign a release waiver in order to ride it.
Scotty, I have a release form for you right here. Must be 18 years of age or older. Must be mentally competent. Must be in good physical condition. Must have no prior or current back or neck problems, including surgery. Must have no prior or current heart disease. Okay, Scotty, what this does is simulates a crash into a solid fixed object at a speed of less than 10 miles per hour. In other words, when this sled hits the bottom of the ramp right here, you're going to be going less than 10 miles per hour, impacting a solid fixed object, because even at a low speed like this, hitting something solid like that is just a major impact. 3, 2, 1, here we go.
Whoa! 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 That convinced me. Now, how can you convince other people? How can they get a hold of you so they can try this out?
Well, Scotty, to get the Seatbelt Convincer to come out to your location, if you have a church, a large organization, you can contact the Houston Police Department at the Public Affairs Division, and that number is 713-308-3200. And we'll write up a program request and come out and show you, hey, how important it is to wear your seatbelt.
Now, here's a tip. If you're cheap like me and you drive an old car, hey, these seatbelts wear out after a while. On this one, the latch broke. Well, rather than spend $200 on a factory one, hey, I went to AutoZone, and for $15, I got a seatbelt that I was able to put in, and it works fine. So if you're worried about bad things happening while you're driving, remember to wear your seatbelt. This is Scotty Kilmer helping you crank it up. So if you never want to miss another one of my new car repair videos, remember to ring that bell.